Do you feel like you lost a lot of your teenage years to this job?
to this job. You make it sound like I'm in.
You're like pushing papers or something.
When I was pushing papers.
Hello, beautiful human. I'm Zach. That's Stanley. Welcome to the studio. Luke Hemmings.
Yo.
Oh, scattered applause.
But it's the first time that you've been here alone.
It is. The couch looks empty. It does. We should have got a one-seater couch, really.
You're right.
Yeah.
What does it genuinely feel like, though, to to do a press day by yourself? And I know it's not your first rodeo. This is your second.
It's at least my second rodeo.
Well,
yeah.
Your second rodeo doing it alone,
Mm-hmm.
right? This is the EP attached to an album that came a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Does it feel natural doing these things by yourself?
At this point, it feels okay. First of all, can I say I'm a little sick, so I'm sorry for the listeners. I'm pretty congested, so just
It's okay.
keep it in mind.
You sound great.
Thanks. Thank you. You sound great. I mean, at first it was definitely like you have less people to lean on, obviously. There's no there's less banter, and you got to really think about what you want to get across, because someone can't just jump in and be like, you forgot to say this or something. But it feels good now. I feel like comfortable with talking about it, and I'm really comfortable with the project as a whole. So there's no I don't know, we'll find out. But there's no something you could say would be like, oh, I don't have an answer to that, I suppose, at this point. But at first it was definitely a little bit fish out of water. Like, so much of my identity is being the guy from Five Sauce and being in the band. So not having that obviously is you feel a little bit weird for a second.
At what point did you know you needed to tell your own story, though? Like, did you know the entire time, even before the band was formed, or was there a moment where it really presented itself?
No, I don't think there was no inclination of it beforehand. It was the first album was made in COVID. So we started the band when I was 14, 15, and then pretty much went until COVID hit, like just tour, album, promo, tour, album, like that sort of cycle for how many years that was, like 7, how many years that was. But so when we got to COVID and was the world was obviously, as everyone knows, it's a very shared experience. The world was in shambles. And there was a lot of catching up for me to do, I think, after all that, for a lot of people, really. But for me, it was just trying to reflect on all of that time. And it started as a challenge to see if I could write songs of my own. And I wasn't sure if I could and if it would be any good. So I started at home on my own. And it obviously has snowballed into something like a full album. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. I have a full sound going on here. And that's kind of where it kicked off. And I really fell in love with the process of it and getting those things off my chest from just my perspective. And it was really fulfilling, and I loved it.
Is it fair to say it starts as a challenge to yourself?
Oh, 100%. It was definitely a challenge to myself. There was not really I don't know. It wasn't really and the album, the way it sounds reflects that. The first album, or both of them, but the first album reflects that. It wasn't I need, I don't know, to play more shows on my own, or I need to I don't know, be seen more or something. The band has gone above and beyond anything that I would ever expect anything. It's not really in my personality to do that, but I did have things to say and get off my chest, and it was a challenge to myself to, I don't know, see if I could do it on my own.
What is it like? I mean, what story do you start with telling? What story is the first one that needs to be told?
Yeah, that's a good question. The first story that needed to be telling, I think instinctively, when I first started writing the first album, because we haven't even talked about that. No. I know we mentioned it last time I was here with the band 2 years ago or something, but...
Great body of work.
Thank you. But it wasn't, I think instinctively I wasn't writing about these big, deep, existential things until a few songs in. So I was more experimenting with sounds and seeing if I could write songs of my own. So they started as, love songs and personal stories, and stuff like that. And then it snowballed into this diving into, you know, being existential about time passing and trying to dissect the last 10 years and my experience of it and my, I don't know, memories of it. They're all so blurry and so much happens, and it was such a intense experience that I don't think I had unpacked emotionally. So that was like the first thing to tackle, I would say.
How is that connected to the EP that we have today? Because this EP very much explores childlike behavior, your childhood or lack thereof, right?
Yeah, I mean, it explores a bunch of stuff, but well, like I said on that first album, there was a lot of self-discovery, and I really, like I said, fell in love with, I don't know, being able to tell those stories and shape a sonic around it that I was like, because I really wanted it to feel, I don't know, even if you didn't hear any of the lyrics or don't speak English, you could feel what the emotion was in the sounds you're feeling. Obviously, that's what music is. You're trying to get across that emotion, but it led us here because, I don't know, it just was one of those things where I just wanted to keep exploring it. Like, there was parts about the first album I really love. Even looking back now, I love some parts, and some parts I'm like, oh, okay, that sounds like young to me now. Like, it sounds like I want to explore the things I do like about it and then see if I can, as an artist, you should be trying to grow and get to what the point of the project is. Like, get to the heart of, this is what it sounds like, this is what it feels like, and this is what its purpose is. So as you make more music for it and bodies of work, that's what you're trying to get to.
So what from the album did you like that you carry with you, and what did you kind of keep in the past?
I think, I really like, there's a song called A Beautiful Dream on the first album that I think is really cool. And there's certain songs that, the first album to me feels very experimental. Like, there's a lot of different, for me, there's one producer on it, or, you know, one main producer on it. So it does feel like a body of work that is cohesive, but it does feel like I'm trying a bunch of different stuff. Like, it feels like I'm trying, you know, let's try something like Neil Young, let's try an M83 thing, let's try, you know, Arcade Fire, whatever it is. Like, there's a bunch of different stuff, and I feel like on Boy, the new EP, it feels more like we've arrived at a sound as opposed to, I don't know, not. It sort of feels a bit like ADD or something on the first album.
Which, by the way, it should.
Oh,
right?
Totally, yeah. I don't like regret any of the songs on there. I think it makes sense. Like, there's a bunch of different influences, and I think to get to what you're just sort of like emulating your favorite artists and what they do best. So you're trying to, I don't know. I mean, I'll probably look back on this EP in 5 years and go, oh, I wasn't quite there yet. It's just one of those things that you don't know until you know.
With this entire EP, right? Like, it sounds like all these songs are under 3 minutes.
They are shorter.
Am I wrong on that? Because like I realized that they were short, and then I'd look at the time really quickly, and I'm pretty sure that all 7 could be close to under 3 minutes.
I didn't know that. I think Promises is longer, the last one.
Okay.
But they are shorter, not by
design.
It just sort of, maybe it's just my brain's pretty like, I don't know, gets bored quickly. So maybe that's part of it. But it wasn't an intentional, like, let's make this short, you know?
I mean, it flows.
Thanks. Yeah.
I looked at the times. I think only 2 songs are under 3 minutes.
Oh, God. Am I that fucked? No way.
Yeah.
But they're not too long. The first album was longer, to be fair. The first album was like a little bit, you know, you're pushing a little bit with times.
I just felt like the album, it moved. I only got a chance to listen to it once, and usually I'll listen to something way more than once before somebody comes in. But I listened to it mainly because you got it late. Whatever, no fault to anybody. I wish I had it earlier because I would have listened to it more. But no, I listened to it once and it flew by, but I feel like it was all intentional. And the lyrics really, let's dissect a little bit of it, right? Did you get a chance to listen to it?
Yep, listened to it once, just like you.
Yeah.
Did you guys listen to it together?
No.
Separate.
But a lot of it was written while you were in motion, right? Very
Yes.
transient. Nothing was planted.
Well, a lot of it was written like in pieces. And I think that's what that's what makes it feel and sound obviously the way it is, because it was written in like, you know, one bit was written here and then I'd revisit it like 6 months later or however long later.
Can you explain to me, is that a technique or is that just happenstance?
I think now it will probably be technique, but I think it just was kind of happenstance. It was just, for my stuff I make on my own, there's a specific feeling I get from it that is not as tangible and like, I'm just going to write a song that feels like this. Like, it's not, frustratingly, I can't just like go, okay, I'll write this. So it takes a minute to get something I love that I've written just myself. So and also as the way I was traveling a lot, like, you know, the first song, I'm Still Your Boy, was the first bit until the chorus. The whole verse and pre was written on a plane, like just in one go. And then it takes like a long time to recreate that feeling to write the rest of the song, because you're so in love with this like burst of creativity, you know, and it's not, songwriting isn't something that is just like, sometimes it is, but a lot of the time it's, you know, elusive. So you're trying to catch up with it a little bit or trying to make these moments happen. But it's not always the case.
Is there someone you're talking to when you're writing those lyrics on that airplane?
Yeah, I think it's just, well, sometimes with writing songs, it's not always, you don't always know what you're writing about until later. Well, particularly for me anyway, obviously everyone's different, but I find, especially for solo stuff, that it is like this rush of subconsciousness of your subconscious, and then you have to almost figure out what you were talking about after the fact. And you'll like find one-liners that just sort of fall out, and you're like, oh, okay, now I've got to figure out what this means. So it sort of forces you to look at it and figure out what the song is about.
So how do you know you're entering a state in which you can tap into your subconscious to even write something like that?
I think it just takes a lot of, I mean, you don't always know, but when I had made a choice at that point that I'm going to try and explore the solo thing more. So I'm in the headspace of writing songs and like reflective and being like overly emotional and trying to, I don't know, you sort of like, you open up the door and like stuff flows in and stuff flows out, and some of it's, you know, shit, and some of it's really comes out like songs you hear that I think are really cool.
Do you feel like you lost a lot of your teenage years to this job?
to this job. You make it sound like I'm in.
You're like pushing papers or something.
When I was pushing papers. No, I think, well, I think the positives far outweigh the negatives. So I always am very hesitant to talk about the downsides of it and all of that. But it is, you know, looking back, it wasn't normal, but it sort of is what it is, you know. And I think there's things that, you know, are a struggle that have come from it or during it, but I wouldn't change anything, you know. So it's a difficult question to answer without, because there's one side of things where it's like, this is like amazing and I can't believe this even happened. And there's obviously things that, it's like anything, like there's downsides to it and things that, you know, I've had to deal with to this day of like insecurities and anxieties and all of these things that your brain at that age is not able to like comprehend. So it's like things you have to dissect as you get older. But that's like anyone, I guess, but it's just kind of different circumstances.
Are you dissecting all that through this music, right?
Probably, yeah. Yeah. I think there's a mix of, I think a lot of these songs are coming to terms with getting to your late 20s and things getting real and life becoming, you're realizing that life is moving on, whether you're, I don't know, present or not. But I can only talk from my experience. So my experience is that, you know, I'm dissecting. To go forward, you have to look back, and for me to look back, it's all those years of this blurry, like kind of surreal experience.
Hello, beautiful human. Every year, millions of gamers experience IGSS, inadequate gaming setup syndrome. Luckily, a cure has been found. You have to go beyond with the Vibrasonic mattress by Beyond Sleep. This thing has 6 built-in subwoofers, USB ports for charging, LED lights so you never stub your toe. It gives you an acoustic massage when you want it, plus adjustable degrees of comfort. This right here is the best way to game ever. Cure your IGSS today at BeyondSleepTech.com. Hindsight is vital as we exist, but like, what does it mean to be a boy? Like, how do you define that?
A boy?
Yeah, like in this context, right? Like, what does it mean to be a boy?
In this context of the song, I think
Or songs, because it's the name of the EP.
Yeah. I think a lot in this song. You're sort of I always struggle to talk about like exact song meanings because I feel like, especially for this, like it's such a culmination of experiences and like little bits and pieces of life stuck together. So I like people to find their own meanings in songs, but I think there's probably for me, this is one part talking to my younger self and like trying to speak to that inner child, inner boy. And I think there's also like speaking to a loved one of being like, sending apologies, like I'm still your boy. Like there's that thing of, boys take a longer time to mature sometimes than women. So I think it's I'm talking to my wife there as well,
Does being in love and realizing you have a real partner change the way you create art?
Yes, definitely. I mean, particularly, I don't know what, I can only speak from my own experience, but Sierra's like my sounding board. She's in everything. And I don't think I would even have a solo thing without her, to be honest.
She push you, give you the confidence?
Yeah, confidence. And not she'd be more than happy for me to not do it as well, to like just be at home and, not be busy and do stuff. But without her, I don't think I'd have the confidence to, I don't know, tap into all of this or be like, okay, yeah, I got something to say here and this is really cool, or have the confidence, or, all of that stuff.
How did you realize that any of this was good? Because you mentioned not knowing.
I think I'm obviously, I'm a pretty harsh critic on my own work. So if it's something that I've gotten over the line, then there's something to it that is listenable at least. But I think, I don't know, it's just one of those, it's got to make me feel something. It's got to be, I'm emulating people that move me musically and lyrically. So if it's moving me, obviously they're my stories, but if it's moving me in a similar way, then it's something that I think is worth sharing.
Okay. Which I get, like if it moves you, but it is also your story, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's it's hard to. I think it's great. So if I think it's great, I also think there's something about this project that no one's. I think I've said this before, but like no one's expecting like, I can't wait for Luke to make. It's kind of like a bonus thing. So for me to think it's good enough to put out, then I don't know.
Do you really create this music with no pressures or stress? Like there's no expectations? Because
oh no, there's definitely pressures and stress. The first one was like less, and then when it becomes a thing where it's like, oh, we're making an album, then it's like, oh fucking hell, like it's definitely stressful. And this one was more stressful than the first one, but also less stressful because I sort of had I'd broken the seal of doing it at all. But knowing what it was like the first time to put it out and share those feelings on my own, it was more stressful. And having something to compare it to was slightly, like there was pressure behind it. It wasn't just like, whatever. Like I knew what I was doing, but it was, I don't know, it was just trying to stress less about it.
Are you making this music for you or for people who listen to it?
Definitely for me.
Can you say the same when it comes to 5 Seconds of Summer music?
I think a bit of both. I think you're always making music for yourself or the collective of the group with the band. I think if you're not enjoying, I just think if we were hating it in the studio as a band and not enjoying it and not making something that we thought was really great, or me on my own in general, like, then I just don't see a point to it. But yeah, I think you gotta love it. Otherwise, what are we doing? You know?
It's true.
Yeah.
So, can you like take us in the studio if you're making a song like Teeth for Five Sauce or Shakes for Yourself? Like, where's the difference in where your brain goes?
Well, Teeth was a while ago now. Gee, that's like 5 years ago now, isn't it? It's crazy.
Damn.
Yeah, we're getting old, aren't we?
Yeah, you were saying 7-8 years, dude. I think it's way longer than that.
I know.
I hate to be that
Yeah.
guy, but like,
Yeah, we're trying to keep the youth alive. trying to be like, yeah, you know, we're 19.
yeah. How old are you? Are you 30?
I'm 27.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, getting up there.
and you're about to be 28.
Yeah, about to be 28. You got the birth date there?
July 16th,
There you go.
1996.
Well, making band stuff, you have other people to bounce it off. Like for that song in particular, there was a lot of people in the room, like 4 at least, and you got another band member. Ashton was there, and then when you're recording, you have Callum and Michael. So it's there's more. I don't know. You sort of just, it's hard to tell because it feels like a different person now. It's like it's a minute ago, but there's more people to bounce it off of. And I think at that point we knew what we were going for after Youngblood and all of that. We had sort of had like a thing to focus on and be like, okay, we're trying to take what we liked about Youngblood and that album and expand on it. Whereas for my stuff, I mean, the process isn't different from my end, but for Shakes, it's like that same thing where it's like you're taking pieces of songs and trying to pull it together. Like Shakes was written in New York, and it was just me and Sammy who did the first album, and it's like was written, there's a big piece written there, and then it like took me a while to finish it. And I feel like with band stuff, it's usually more like, you know, you go somewhere on a day and you finish it that day. It's less, maybe less picked apart.
Interesting. But
Yeah.
you also have more people touching it, right?
Yeah, but you're sort of just, it's very on the day and instinctual, you know, and sometimes that comes out good. There's no right or wrong way to do it. It's just, you know, there's also songs for the band that take a long time to finish too. It's just like, it's dependent on what song you're writing. But I can only speak for like, you know, the solo stuff that I've made has taken me a long time for every song pretty much. And it's like these short bursts and I'll have to, you know, go back and try and finish them.
And are you writing things just with no instrument, just like on your notes, or?
It depends. A lot of times with an instrument, like, but for some songs it's just like will just pop into my head, or I'll be listening to something else and I'll hear a different melody over that song or whatever. So it just sort of depends.
How do you keep track of your inspiration?
Usually voice memos or like writing on like because a lot of it was, you know, on the move. A lot of it was like in those random, you know, like the hotel pads where you write down with like the hotel pen. But usually I mean, if you saw my voice memos and notes and things I've written down, it just looks like a madman.
How many songs did you write before you picked the 7?
There was a lot of ideas, but there wasn't as many songs as you would think, because I know from the first album how long it takes me to really love something that I've like to get it. Because for me, when I'm writing stuff on my own, I find it really annoying if it's not fully finished to listen to it. I find it really irritating because it's not exactly how I want it. So I know how long it takes me to get from the song idea to that part where I'm like, oh, this sounds exactly how I envisioned it in my head. So there's less songs than you would think. So there's like a lot of half ideas. Like there's probably 20 half ideas, and then you narrow that down to like, 12, and then it gets narrowed down. But especially working just with one person, like with Sammy, it's easier to be like, this is really great. Let's finish this. and there's less like, you know, let's write 50 songs.
Totally.
Like that's not really the case with this, because I know when something for me is right, or like, you know, even having, we talked about it before, but even having like Still Your Boy, I had that first verse for such a long time, and I was like, I know this is really great, and this is exactly what I want to say, and the feeling I want to get across, but I just couldn't finish it. So it's less like, let's just write 3 more ideas. It's more writing 7 different choruses for that song, if that makes sense.
7 different choruses.
Or whatever it is,
Yeah,
you know.
I
I tried like a bunch. It probably was 7 actually. But just at home, like it just will be, you wouldn't fully do them, but I would like have that and try and finish it at home like over and over, or wherever it was, like in a hotel or on the road or something.
Do you like send all these half ideas to your producer? And
Sometimes.
is it
yeah.
just a direct collaboration between the two of you?
Yeah. I'll play it to Sierra sometimes, and I'll send it to Sammy and be like, what do you think of this? And he'll be like, no, or like, this is really cool. So it can be pretty brutal sometimes, but I don't know. And it took, I don't know where for that song in particular, I really wanted something simple. I was getting really into I love the thought of, there's a few songs like this on the EP where I was trying to get across more emotion with less words. So I was like, how do I say more, but just like it be one line? And that's where a lot of the songs came from. Like Promises is like that, the last song. It's basically one line in the chorus. And I'm Still Your Boy is obviously just one line over and over.
Who is the female harmonizing on Close Enough to Feel You?
That is Sierra.
That's
My
pretty
wife.
cool.
Yeah.
What is it like to be in the studio doing that together?
It's great.
It's
Yeah.
pretty sick.
It's good fun. She has such a good voice. I'm like, I'd have her on every song if I could, because she's one of those singers that is like just, I don't know, annoyingly good. Like will be sick or like, I don't know, tired and just like always be on pitch. And I feel like I have to work really hard to be a really good singer. And she's so embedded in all the lyrics. Even if a song isn't directly about her, there's moments that are, you know, if that song in particular is like, you share any sort of grief and loss and feelings with your partner, because, you know, they're your partner in life. So she's so in the lyrics anyway. So it makes sense to have her on it.
Can you explain to me the story, Close Enough to Feel You? I know you don't want to talk about it, but is it a love song or?
It's sort of like that feeling of when something happens in your life where, you know, some sort of loss or whatever it is, some sort of life-altering thing, and little things can bring that up really easily and trigger it, and you can sort of go from like being fine to totally falling off a cliff and like being, you know, I'm falling apart again, being totally back to that feeling. And it's hanging on to this pain is the only thing that brings me close to you, then I'd rather have that than not have it at all. So I think that's kind of like the gist of it.
It's deep. And I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
Fuck. What are you thinking?
Who's Benny? Because when I think of Benny, my friend has a dog named Benny. So I'm just thinking about my friend's dog the whole
It's
time.
about your friend's dog, actually.
You
Yeah.
did? Oh, wait, give him that.
Yeah. Benny, I have a brother named Ben. So, you know, it's in relation to him, but it's more about when something happens in your family or loved ones. And, you know, I live in America. My family is all in Australia. And when something big happens, good or bad, there's like this guilt of like, oh, I should be there. You know, I should really be there for this. And yeah, so it's kind of talking about that. And just, I've lived here for such a long time and been away from them for like, you know, I see them intermittently, but
It's not the same.
yeah, like when big light, I don't know where y'all are from. If you've like some things happen when you're far away from someone, it's just like
Totally.
it's hard to.
My
Yeah.
boyfriend's from Australia, and I watch it like just
Oh, I
being
know that.
there. Yeah. He's from Adelaide, and it's hard.
Adelaide, all right, hell yeah,
Yeah. It's a nice place. I love Australia. It's fucking amazing.
hell yeah.
But it is so incredibly far.
It is really far
so
away.
far. And the time difference is wild, and
Yeah.
it is challenging. It is, and we're just witnessing firsthand. It's really, it takes a toll on him. And it takes a toll on your relationships to a certain degree.
Yeah, because it's like you feel a little bit helpless, you know. And you got to like, because I'm over here, you know, I've got a life over here now, and friends and a wife, and like it's a family here. And then when I'm over here like making music and like trying to continue this dream that I started as a kid that they supported, and I'm away, and like, you know, when things, you know, big things happen, you feel guilty. You know,
even the bad stuff, you feel guilt. Everything.
Oh, 100%. The bad stuff is even worse. Yeah, you feel like I should be like, should I fly home? Like, and it says that in the song. Like, should I be going home now? Like, but you're in the middle of, you know, doing zachsang interview, or like, you know, tomorrow. You know, it's just like there's things that you're doing all the time, and you're like, oh, geez, probably should go home.
But also to get home takes 20 hours.
Yeah, it takes a long time to get there.
I mean, literally between 16 and 20 hours on a good day.
I mean, if you're going to Adelaide, that's another flight added, isn't it?
Yeah,
Where do you go? Do you go Sydney to Adelaide?
Yeah, I did Melbourne to Adelaide. Last
okay.
I went into Melbourne, then went out of Sydney. I'll go again in a couple weeks.
You going again?
No, yeah, a couple months.
Okay.
Just scared everybody on my team.
Is he here?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's special. Love is special. You do also crazy things when you fall in love.
You do.
You do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you and Sierra ever like fully announce you were married? Did you just like say it on a red carpet and people were like, did he just say wife?
Cool.
Well, yeah, that interview, I didn't know I was going to do any interviews that day. So I just sort of showed up and was like, oh, we're just going to do some photos. And then all of a sudden I was in an interview and I was like yelling into the mic and just, you know, saying whatever I was saying. Maybe I had a couple of tequilas. But yeah, haven't announced it. I think as I've gotten older, I just like, you know, we try and keep some stuff to ourselves. But it's you know, trying to keep it chill. We don't want it to be picked apart, especially wedding stuff. I feel like it gets picked apart a lot by other people, and I just didn't want it to.
That's healthy.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, it's cool. So, I mean, love is really best kept between you and the person you love, right?
Yeah, and it just made sense for us. You know, we just eloped, and it was, you know, we had big plans for like a wedding, and like we're just so busy, and we didn't want to wait any longer to be married. It just was like becoming this thing where it was like, all right, you know, we're trying to find the perfect time, but they're just like, you know, a lot of these songs as well, like talk about just time moving on with or without you, and we just didn't want to. I don't know. It suits us just to elope, and it was really beautiful. Yeah.
And that's what matters.
Yeah, and we loved it. It was perfect for us.
That's how many people were there?
Not many. No, there's a service where someone comes to your house and does all the paperwork, and they just like you just say vows, and
so that was it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It was dope.
Took some photos for some K1 visas or some shit. You know?
We got some photos. We haven't put them out yet. You know, I just want to like, I don't know. Maybe at some point we will, but I don't know. It's one of those things you just want to.
It's you.
Oh shit! Keep something to ourselves. It's nice.
It's the way it should be.
Yeah.
It's also super mature. And
Yeah.
like also healthy, and I don't know. It's really nice.
Thank you.
Are you going to be American citizen now?
American citizen?
Yeah. You're going to be a dual citizen, eh?
Can you do that?
Yeah. Fuck yeah, you can if you get married to an American citizen.
I don't know. I don't know if I will. We'll see. Maybe try and get a green card.
That's pretty cool.
That'd be nice. I'm still in every time I come back to LAX, I'm still in that visa line, dude. I'm still in there with, you know, all the tourists. I'm like, I live here, pay taxes here, I pay house tax. Like, can I go on the quick line, please?
No. Your ESTA renews every 90 days,
yeah,
dude.
I know. I'm with the ESTA.
So you have to leave every 90 days?
No, I don't have to leave every 90 days. I got a visa, but it's every couple of years. So I have to go like back to Australia or Canada or something to.
Oh, you have an O1.
An O1. You know your visas, dude. You know your visas.
If you want to get into 90-day fiance, just sit the fuck down. I'll consult you through the whole thing. Yeah, K1s, O1s,
What's
B2s.
a K1?
I think a K1 is for, somebody can confirm this, but I'm pretty sure it is for an engagement. Like it's for a fiance or something.
Oh.
Like that.
I don't know why you're looking at me. I don't know. I'm not married.
Do you feel like being able to do your own creative endeavors, more than just for you, but for the entire band, right? Everybody's free to kind of do what they want. Ashton just joined another band.
Yeah.
Does doing these projects make you guys better band members, like stronger members of this team that you formed when you were fucking 14?
Yes, I definitely think so. I think it's obviously a scary thing if you're a fan or in the band, like for people to do other things, but it's just about, it's the way, the intent behind them and like the way you present them to fans or more importantly each other. But I think for a band like Five Sauce, it is where there's four of us and we all could individually write, record, sing our own solo thing. Like we are such full artists, and that's what makes, I think, us great and important as a band, that we can do that. So I think it's important for us to, whether it's making solo things or having time off or whatever it is, like you need to live your life a little bit so you can come back to the band, and it makes everyone, but I'll just speak for me, it makes me such a better band member. It makes me appreciate the band more. It makes me want to be in the band, and it's a way for the band to last forever.
Totally.
For me. Otherwise, I don't know. The other option is, I don't know, not doing it, and then, I don't know, having things that, you try and, then when you're making stuff with the band, like you're trying to pull it your way a little bit too far, or, whoever it is, like someone else is trying to pull it their way, like we should do this, and the band should be a collection of thoughts that's been, that's what a band is, or a collection of thoughts refined to be 5 seconds of summer.
Totally. And by the way, and I got to say, like, you guys can go and make your own music, and none of that music would sound alike, because you guys are very different from one another, and you're all different shades of different fucking colors that, like, when put together, you do get a band that is so unique and can't be duplicated.
Well, yeah, I'm glad you think so. That's how I feel as well.
It's accurate.
Yeah, I think, I just think I don't know, we've been a band for a long time, and it's, I think, at the moment, I might not always do solo things, but at the moment I feel like I have something to say outside of the band. So I feel really grateful and blessed that I can have that creative outlet,
Are you ready to tour by yourself?
I'm ready to. I've gotten over the anxiety hump of it, but it's definitely, it's nerve-wracking for sure, but I'm excited. I think the last few years I've been trying to do more things that are a bit out of my comfort zone, and playing shows with the band are amazing, but I'm comfortable in that role. I love getting up there and fucking pointing out, being the guy from Five Sauce. I love it so much, and I'm always going to do that. But I love the idea of doing something that is absolutely terrifying, which is doing a solo tour. Like, it sounds really scary, but
it's crazy.
There's something great on the other side of that, emotionally. And also, when I first started making solo music, I didn't think I would ever play any shows. There wasn't like a thought. So then, one, because of COVID, and like two, because I just didn't think I would have the guts to, I suppose. But after playing a couple shows 2 years ago at the Fonda, it was really, it was amazing to see that the songs that I had made on my own meant so much to people, because it was such a insular time for me. And like, I put the songs out and people were like, yeah, this is really cool. But I didn't know that people make fun of me for saying this, but I didn't know people liked it until like you go and play a show and people are like, singing it and being like, this is, giving you a visceral, like, this is sick.
You could feel it, see it, smell it.
Exactly. And it was like emotional to have that. And I put so much into these songs. I want to play them live and take it the whole way and see how it is.
How are you putting together the musicians that are behind you? Sorry. Because all I keep thinking to myself is, like, outside of like writing songs together, you guys have been playing as a band together for well over 10 years. So that's like a collection, like the musicianship and the comfort and the safety that exists there.
Yeah.
Like, you can't, you have to dedicate another 10 years with a group of other people to figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, it's never going to be
The same.
It's never going to be the same. I think, but that's kind of the whole point, I suppose, to take out that safety net and be like, well, let's just see what happens with other people. I have helped pulling musicians together, but it's just people I think are rad and can play the songs and dig it, you know.
That's a good criteria.
Yeah, you know.
How long you been playing the drums for?
I mean, playing the drums is that's putting it very nicely. I think I am not a drummer. I think I had a lot of fun on this album writing a lot of the songs with playing drums, like, because I'm not a drummer. So it's almost like I don't know, there's something a bit more childlike about it, and like I'm not very good at it. So being able to play something and in the writing phase that a drummer would never play, or like, you know, it's played a bit shit, is kind of fun. So I don't know, I can play a few beats and it's just kind of like, I don't know, it's just something I use as a writing tool more than anything.
I don't think anybody's ever said they write on the drums. People usually tell us it's the guitar or the piano.
Well, it's nice to, it's nice to be able to have something else to sit at. It's nice to be in the studio and be like, not at the piano and at the guitar. It's like if you're trying to make a whole landscape, like the drums in Promises, they were replayed, but, you know, I played that beat originally and, you know, put the big reverb on it, and I was like, oh, this sounds really sick. But it was like kind of, I don't know, it just made, if you play that first and then go to something else, it's kind of like, it's nice to do it the other way around, if that makes sense, as opposed to like playing whatever it is on a guitar or a piano or a synth and writing it and then playing drums. It was nice to go the other way around. So it just was like a writing tool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You build the beat.
Yes, build a beat.
Do you have a garden?
I have a garden.
What do you plant?
At the moment, there's some blood oranges.
Oh,
Some lemons.
cool.
Yeah.
Your lemons are in season right now.
Yeah, they're popping off.
Oh, jealous.
You don't have lemons?
I do. I have a lemon tree, but I plucked my lemons.
Yeah, well, we've got a lot. There's like, it's kind of,
Oh, you got a big one.
it's just overflowing. I haven't picked that many.
Well, okay, so you have lemons. You have blood oranges. What else you got?
There's some grapefruits.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, there's some kumquats.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, fuck.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sick.
Got
I have
some-
limes. I got oranges.
There's
I
there's
got a
no
pear.
limes actually. There's no limes.
Interesting. I have tomatoes.
I don't have those either.
Oh,
I need to get into that.
I'm working on a rose bush.
I got some roses.
Oh, jealous.
Yeah.
Did you plant those yourself, or did they like come?
That's all Sierra. That's
Amazing.
yeah, that's her deal. I mean, honestly, all of it is. I'm just sort of like, I just, you know, reap the benefits of having citrus.
Yeah, the most citrus.
And a beautiful garden.
And you get to write a song about it.
Exactly. Yeah.
What is the garden life? I mean, there's more to that than just actually having fruits and citrus at your disposal.
Yes. There's more than that. There's more to life than fruits and citrus.
I don't know.
That song was written in, it was 3 a.m. I couldn't sleep in a hotel. And it's like a love song to your happiest and safest place, like the place you love the most. And it's sort of, you know, when you think back on your life, there's like these big, beautiful, amazing memories, if you're lucky, that are really big events. And sometimes the memories that are the most visceral and that you hold dearest are the mundane ones, like sitting in the garden or watching TV or like, you know, just talking with your partner at home. It's like, it doesn't have to be, you know, when you're younger, you think like, you know, this big thing that you do, like, I don't know, playing a big show or doing whatever it is that the band has done, or like in your life, big life events. You think those are going to be the things that flash before your eyes, before, you know, what do they say, before you die? Like you flash before your eyes all your whole life. You think those are going to be the big things, but sometimes the most beautiful ones are so mundane.
It's little stuff.
Yeah. So it's kind of like that. That's the story of it.
You gotta listen to Boy. It's all waiting for you on Amazon Music. All Luke's music is there too. What are you thinking?
Did you purposely go from like a really long album title to the shortest one possible?
I mean, maybe subconsciously, yeah. It did. I did a lot of interviews in the first album where it was like, it was a long title. People were like, this is long. But I like that juxtaposition of like long to the shortest, yeah. But
yeah. What was the first? What is that?
when facing the things we turn away from, yeah.
2, boy.
Yeah, just trying to simplify it. Just trying to refine it a little bit, you know?
You can listen to both, by the way, on Amazon Music. It's all up there.
You know, we were talking about getting older, and I just realized the Five Sank the Summer album is going to be 10 years old this year.
Wow.
Damn. It's crazy.
Again, you're talking about 7 or 8 years. Like,
Well, you know.
it's way more than that. Dude.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, trying to yeah, it's crazy. It's a long time.
That is a long time. What do you think about that album listening back to it today?
I think it's great. I do. I think I have loved it the more that I've gotten older. I think I loved it at the time. Well, I definitely loved it at the time. And then there was a couple of years where I was like, you know,
Too cool for that?
yeah, too cool for that, grown out of it. But I think it's great. I think it's, when I speak to people about it and they're like, you know, that was the album that came out when I was, you know, whatever it was, in high school or doing this or whatever it was. I think that's really cool because I have albums like that for me. So it's pretty crazy. Yeah, it feels like a different person though. It's like, it feels like a lifetime ago.
Well, you all were really different people.
Yeah. Yeah.
As your fans have gone through the same exact growth and change too.
Yeah, it is crazy. I mean, it's even like, it's funny because with our bands that we were sort of the same age as, you know, for a lot of time, the people that were fans of the band.
Yeah.
So as we grew up and went through different musical iterations and eras and stuff like that, and our tastes were evolving, fans were as well. So it's an interesting, unique thing that, you know, not that many people have.
10 years.
It is crazy that Don't Stop and Amnesia are on the same album. Like, I was listening to them this morning. I was like, those two songs could not be any more different.
Yeah, we just started playing Don't Stop again at
You
shows. Yeah, on the last tour. It was actually, it was healing. It was good fun.
Will you do any 5 Seconds of Summer songs on your own?
No, I don't think so.
No?
I don't think so. No, we've played them enough on tour, and we'll tour again.
And you now have enough songs of your own.
Yeah, it doesn't really. I mean, never say never. I haven't made the set list yet, but I don't think so. It's not really about that. It's more about, you know, self-expression, and if people are waiting for 5-star songs, then
Totally.
maybe this isn't the show.
Yeah, but there'll also be a tour for them. Like, the band is very
We're
much
always
still
going to
here.
tour.
Yeah.
You know?
But is that like a conscious decision you all have to come to, which is like, we're going to go do our own things, but this thing will never go away?
It is, yeah. We've had conversations about it. We talk about it and go, you know, I'll be like, I really want to do this, and I love the band. We're going to make an album. I'll be back at this point, and then we'll make an album. And there's there's already a band schedule that's been, you know, brewed.
Sick.
So there's stuff already in the works. Yeah.
But the conversation has happened where, like, you agreed that this band won't ever go away.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, that's the plan. I think, and all these things are, you know, it's by design. We said this when we were 16 and no one believed us. We're like, we want to be a band for, I mean, we're saying ridiculous things. We want to be like the Rolling Stones. We're going to be here for a long time. And people at the time were like, you know, whatever, you know, you guys are going to fizzle out. And we just won't allow it. You know, maybe there'll be a time when we take more time in between albums, like we are now. Like I'm doing something, you know, other people are doing their things, but maybe there'll be a time where there's a few more years between each album, but I can't see it not being a part of my life. And we've had those discussions, you know. Yeah.
The best thing about you guys is, like, you guys love 5 Seconds of Summer.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bands that don't talk about it. Whenever I see you guys talking, you guys love the band.
Yeah.
It's awesome to see.
It is nice, isn't it? I
Yeah.
don't know how people do it when they don't like their band, because definitely would be fun.
Just like a beautifully authentic thing that was born out of, like, just a desire to make some random covers on the fucking internet. And like,
it is strange, but I think
it's awesome.
yeah, thanks, man. I think it's we know how unlikely it is that we have all arrived at this point, and how much hard work has been put in, and how rare it is, especially, I mean, for anyone, but like an Australian band to like have that, I don't know, that love around the world and that effect on people's lives is just not, doesn't come around very often. So I think we all just could acknowledge that and be like, let's try and do everything we can to protect this. And if we still feel like we have something to say musically and, you know, play great shows, then let's do it. I don't think it's I don't know, we can respect that.
But genuinely a part of something that was built at a time that like we'll never see again. Like, you know, our show was born 17 years ago. You guys were born, I mean, like 10,
Wow, 17
plus
years.
Yeah, a long time.
Congrats.
Thanks. But it was at a time though where like, it's hard to explain. Like the internet was not. There was people using the internet because it was incredibly democratized, but not nearly as like yes, as easily accessible as it is today. But less people felt empowered to use it as a tool. Do you get what I'm saying?
It definitely was a different time now, a bit back then than it is now.
I mean, crazy.
Yeah, it is. I mean, where we were in Western Sydney, it was definitely. It took like, remember we used to have to go to Ashton's house to record the videos, and his internet would take like 3 days to upload the videos. It was just, it's ridiculous looking back.
Like we'll never ever be at that point in the internet's existence ever again.
Yeah.
And never get the creation of these personalities and musicians and whatever that like kind of cross between the internet and what could be to be mainstream, because back then mainstream media took internet stars and like they wanted to embrace the shit out of them because they found that like this was the start of something new. It's just wild. The whole thing is crazy.
Yeah, and there was like we had a big emphasis on taking whatever this like slight buzz on YouTube was and turning it into a live thing. We were like, as soon as we could, we were like, let's take whatever this is. How do we get this YouTube thing? Like, we want to be a band. We want to be like Blink, Green Day. Like, how do we get that immediately to be, how do we play live? And that was the first big challenge, you know?
Which, by the way, like is the opposite of what most people who get discovered on the internet want to do today.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't.
It's true.
It's, it's crazy. Yeah. But that was our first thing. But like, that was what, you know, I grew up playing in pubs and stuff. Like I was playing covers in pubs of my own. So was Ashton. It was funny. We never crossed paths, but that was like our first thing. Like, how do we play live? That was the peak thing. How do we get 50 people, 100 people into a room listening to our original songs? Yeah.
But for so many reasons, that's the ultimate test of a band, right?
Yeah. Well, that's what I thought. Well, that's what we thought was like the only way to do it was. But
well, how cool is it to be on stage at Royal Albert Hall with a full choir and full strings? Like that show was awesome.
Thanks, man.
That show was so cool.
It was super rad. Yeah, it was a stressful day. We'd never played. It was because you realize how different the spectrum of musicianship is when you're playing with an orchestra. We'll be like, can you make it be like, you know, dun, 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 dun. And they'll be like, do you mean like, you know, this, whatever the word is, blah, 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 in E major and like this diminished, you know, whatever it is. But they would be like, they'll have like an actual term. We'll be like, yeah, do that. It was great. I loved it. It was a challenge to pull together, you know, but we did it and it was really cool. We just had done really a lot of different things. Every release, you know, it was our 5th album. We wanted to do something different, and it was, we pulled it off.
Mm-hmm. But also something not afforded to everybody, you know? It's pretty fucking cool.
Thanks.
Sick. You should relive it all on Amazon Music. Listen to Luke's stuff. The entire discography is waiting for you. There's a link below. Tour kicks off 2 days after my birthday in Paris.
Wow.
Hey.
You gonna be there?
I wish. I just was in Paris.
Where are you?
Yeah, it's nice. The food's whatever.
It's nice.
It's old.
Don't Americans love Paris? No. Maybe Paris doesn't love Americans.
I think that's it. They were really nice, though, to me.
They were?
Yeah,
I've always found it to be nice. They don't like when you try and speak the language as much because you always butcher it. Not you, but as in like we as non-Parisian speakers.
The universal we. I
Yeah.
can't do that. That's bad. But I do try to like immerse myself in culture when I travel places, and like I will try to figure out like the basic language.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I totally fuck it up.
Yeah.
Like the other day, I thought I was confident in my very limited Japanese ability, and we had a J-pop group come in here, and I greeted them by saying thank you, welcome. Well, I greeted them by saying thank you very much. I was like, namagaseo. No, that's wrong. They laughed at me.
I've got like hello and, you know, how you doing in so many different languages that it's just like, I get them mixed up, and that's the worst.
You've been everywhere, though.
I've been a couple places, yeah. But it definitely, still don't know like a full language. Not there long enough to like get like you get a taste of it, and then you move on.
Yeah, you're there for a day.
Yeah.
Why'd you pick Paris to start this thing?
I think it was probably just the best routing.
Got it. Makes sense.
Yeah, that's it. I wish there was a big reason. I do love Paris, and I think hopefully they're, you know, a kind audience for our first show.
Will your wife be with you on the road?
She should be, yeah. Well, she will be.
Sick.
Yeah, that's the plan.
That's really cool to have a partner that you can share something like this with.
It is, yeah.
It's special. What are you thinking?
I just remembered that we forgot to ask about your phones that you walked in with.
Yeah, what is this? You have a flip phone?
Yeah, well, I have, you know, the all-encompassing iPhone.
Yeah, computer in your pocket.
But I also I have this because it's release week, so I got to be on my phone.
Got it.
But what I've been doing is this old thing, the flip phone.
Is it like a Nokia?
It's I don't know what this is. Sonim?
Okay, of course. That's
and,
a
you know,
full-on flip phone.
Well, I wanted something that I could like go to dinner or like leave the house, and if my mum wants to call me or Sierra or like anyone that if there's an emergency they can call me, but I don't have to like be, you know, doing this on my phone all the time.
Healthy.
You have like a phone for emergencies.
Exactly, the bat phone.
That's cool.
But you have two different numbers then.
Yes.
And the important people get the flip phone number because you always have it with you.
Yeah, if you play your cards right, you get the flip phone number.
Was there a moment where you're like, I need two phones and one of them needs to be a flip?
Well, I just have honestly always missed this thing. Like I grew up in the flip phone, slide phone era, and it's so satisfying. But I think, I don't know, there's just something about, there's so much like emphasis, like it's so crazy that all, apart from like, you know, in person and shows and like physical stuff, there's all my work is done like on this box, like internet stuff, emails, text, like it's all in my phone.
Terrifying.
And it's just like so great. I mean, everyone's like that now. Sometimes it's nice to not have that. And I just wanted to, you know, I'm always talking about getting off my phone more, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to get a flip phone. I'm just going to see what it's like. And I haven't got to use it that much yet because I've been doing so much work stuff. And if I leave my phone for a while, there's like a disaster of like, we need to do this right now. We need this. But I'm hoping to use it in the future more.
I'm looking forward to this for you.
Thank you. It's exciting, you know, get lost in the wilderness, be out there. You ever done that? Left the house without your phone and like gone somewhere?
It's weird.
It's so weird.
It's like all you can think about is the
I know.
fact that you don't have a phone.
It is strange. You realize how much you pull it out of like in like an awkward situation.
Oh, yeah.
Say we're like waiting for the interview to start. You pull out your phone and just like, you know, we'd chat because we're, you know,
Yeah, we know each
we're
other.
good vibes, but we know each other. But it is weird that you like rely on it so much.
Yeah.
It is a crutch.
It's certainly a crutch, but you know, just sounded like a boomer over here.
We all sound so old. You good?
I have two more questions. I just thought of them. One,
Of course you do.
the
caffeinate.
makeup. How does that play into this boy era?
Looks good.
Thanks.
It does.
Did it myself. Well, the makeup thing's been going on for a while. I just love trying to make every possible aspect of my life creative in some way, and it's just a bit of fun. I'm not the best at it, but it makes me feel good. It kind of like allows me to, especially for stage, like get into a character or like build a, you know, the cover of the EP like is me with some sort of similar makeup to this, but a bit more intense. But yeah, it just makes me feel good. And I don't know, it's a bit of fun. It's a bit like kind of messy and I don't know, kind of like my outfit's just like a little bit thrown together, and
but also still put together at the same time. It's weird.
Thanks. Just trying to get that, get the thrown together, put together thing going. But yeah, it just makes you feel good, really.
It gives rock star.
Thanks.
I'm here for it. Your next question.
My last question. I hope it's a good question to end it on. But like, how's Callum?
How's Callum?
Yeah.
Where is he?
I just saw him the other day. We had dinner. He's good.
He's good?
He's good.
I know, like Ashton's doing the music thing,
Yeah.
Mike's being a dad, and then Callum was like, where's Callum?
Yeah, I think I don't know. Maybe he'll be sitting here at some point. I think he's doing good. I think he's I don't want to give away too much of what he's working on or what he's doing, but he's I don't know what he's doing apart from just hanging out at the moment. He doesn't give too much away, that guy. But I missed him. It was good to see him the other day.
Yeah.
Is that how you guys just hang out now? It's just dinners and...
Yeah, that does sound pretty old school, doesn't it? We just got dinner, yeah. Went to Craig's. Yeah, pretty much. We'll like do, I send a lot of memes to Callum, or I send like a lot of funny random things to him. But yeah, that's usually it. Dinners, sometimes phone calls, sometimes Zooms, mostly like, text now and then, but we did like 2 back-to-back world tours, so it was like...
Yeah, too much.
It's a lot of them.
It wasn't that, even though it was too much, like it's so funny. We're so good at touring as a band now that it's like, obviously you take space and everyone has their own life, but it's not because we're like sick of each other. It's just because you need to do something different. Like you need to like have your own little, we all have our own little worlds now, and it's really rad to like, it's nice to catch up. We lived together all the time for so many years that it's nice to like, see each other on, with bigger spaces in between and like catch up, what's been going on.
But what a wild thing to say. Like, you guys are so good at touring now. Like, there must have been a moment in the throes of this thing where you never thought you guys could get to a point where you could do this in a healthy way.
I mean, yeah, I suppose so. It is, you just get better at it, I suppose. And I think you have a bit more respect for yourself and like your mental health a bit more. As we've gotten older, you understand what you need to mentally survive it. Otherwise, you have if you get off tour and you haven't been taking care of yourself physically, mentally, then it's such a long time to get back to like, ground zero of like feeling good again. So it just, takes a while to get there.
Well, go see Luke on tour this time around by himself, May 4th. It starts in Paris. Calling to all the people who in France, go see a show. There's a link below. You good?
Yeah, I'm gonna go see the show when it's here.
Yeah, come to LA shows.
Yeah, I want to come see it.
June 5th, 6th.
That makes sense to me.
Well, whatever the day is, we'll be there.
I could have said anything.
No, we're gonna put a link below. You can
February 2nd?
That's he's a little bit too far. All Luke's music is waiting for you on Amazon Music. Scan the code, click the link. Appreciate you, sir.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Literally anytime. You're fucking amazing.
Hell yeah.
Luke Hemmings, everybody.
Scattered applause.